thanks everyone for joining this today. As you probably read and saw by the emails and the social media posts, we had a very, very intense response, shall we say, to the webinar, and we had to release 2 extra days, but we're kind of cheating a little bit, because on those extra days what we're doing is we're recording the audio and the video here on this webinar to play on the second 2 days, because unfortunately we've got training booked in, as you can imagine. As we said, use the chat function on the right hand side menu if you have any questions. You should all be able to see my screen now, which is the Joblogic job desk, or the SDQ as you guys may call it. If you can't see the screen, please check down the bottom of your Windows toolbar and you should see the Go to Training icon there. If you have any burning questions whilst we're going through this, type them in the chat, and what we'll do is we'll scroll back when we finish and see what the questions were and see how we can answer them. So we're going to start with some nice sort of simple new things we've brought in, and we're going to talk you through them, and I'm going to explain the benefits, and hopefully they'll make sense. Again, if they don't, just let me know. So the first thing we've done is, in the Joblogic user account screen, we've brought in a new field for the purchase order system. Now what we've done is we've given a PO category. So what it means is you can put the user's initials inside this screen, and every time they raise a purchase order in Joblogic, they won't get asked for their initials. It will do it automatically. So that's a nice easy one to start with. We then introduced a couple of new fields into the engineers screen as well now. This is obviously due to the different trades that we deal with and the different companies that we deal with, and we've now got a few things I just want to sort of mention here as we go through. We've introduced a couple of new accreditation fields at the bottom here, and we've also, the one that really sort of needs me to explain to you, is introduced this field called location. Now the way location works, it works hand in hand with StockLogic and Joblogic Mobile. And what it does is, if you bring in StockLogic into your business and you use Joblogic StockLogic to control your stock, you can create locations of the engineers' vans and give them stock levels. Then what happens then is, when they use parts on a job, it automatically looks to deduct it from their StockLogic levels inside the StockLogic management screen. So when you see that location there, you only need to bother with it if you use StockLogic and mobile. If you don't use one or the other, it's not really going to work for you. Okay, it needs to be used in tandem, if you like. Alright, so that's the first sort of part that I wanted to start with in CoreLogic. There's another final section which I know is going to please a lot of you. In our parts library inside CoreLogic, we've introduced, if I just open this up, just need to move my chat thing here. We've introduced an attachment screen into the parts. Now this is, guys, don't get too carried away, this is a 2-step thing for us. We've introduced it for the office, and at the moment the engineers can't see this, okay? So at the moment the attachments are purely for the office. We're going to move on to ServeLogic next. This is the next section we're going to look at for this webinar. We're going to talk about a new option we brought in for the menu itself, which is log job by asset. Now a lot of customers told us, you know, the log job is very quick, it's very slick and easy, but what they'd like to do is be able to find an asset and immediately log a job to that asset. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you how you do this quickly. You click on log job by asset, and as you can imagine, you can search using any of the columns above here, and you can find the asset you're looking for. So I might as well just choose this webinar default one I set up. Double click, and then you're going to choose your type of job and just say AC is leaking, like so, remembering to put my space, and log the job. It really is that quick. So all we've done is we've given you the ability to choose the asset that you're looking for, because a lot of people use asset numbers and serial numbers and so on. and then it will give you the ability to finish off logging the job. As you can see, it's pulled the customer in sight purely on the fact of where the asset belonged. Alright, so that's a nice new feature inside there, log job by asset. So what we're going to talk about next is we're going to move on to cost logic, which, as you know, is the finance part of our system. Now there's a few things in here, so I'm going to go a bit steady on this one. I'm not going to go too fast, and make sure all you guys are sort of keeping up. If not, if I'm going too fast, shout at me over the chat and I'll take a step back. I'm just going to use this job I've prepared earlier. Just done this just to save us a few minutes. Now what we've done is, for those people who use schedule of rates, or SORs as they're known, a lot of people again reported back to us, great, yeah, it's in the job screen, but when I'm costing the job, then what I want to know is the fact that I can also add now SORs inside the costing screen. So when I'm costing, I don't have to leave this screen to go into the job screen to add the SORs. It kind of made sense to us straight away, so that was an easy decision for us to put that in. So that's the first little change inside cost logic. And again, we're going to stay in cost logic for this next part, where I'm going to talk to you about a brand new thing we've brought in. And please, if you have any questions, again, keep typing them. I will get you at the end. I'm not ignoring you. I just need to carry on going through these things before I answer your questions. We've got this brand new feature in Joblogic called a call out fee adjuster. Now, the call out fee adjuster is quite simply for those people who charge a call out fee that includes the first hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is, you include the first hour on site. Okay, so if you charge a call out fee of £60, but your standard hourly fee after that is £35, but in that £60 is your first hour, Joblogic will automatically calculate it for you. So what it will do, for instance, if an engineer works on a job for 2 hours, it will only charge the £30 on top of the £60 call out fee. Joblogic will catch that labour, it will catch the labour from the mobile, see that it's 2 hours, automatically deduct the sale value from the first hour because it knows a call out fee is there. The beauty is that when it does this, as you can see on my screen, it puts my call out fee in there of £40. My engineer was on site for 3 hours. It automatically took an hour off because I've set that up in my system, that it's included in my first hour, but importantly, it's left the cost to my business, which is right. It's telling me it cost me $29.50 for him to be there for that hour, and then it's split the rest of the labour into a brand new line of 2 hours. Okay, so the call out fee adjuster, for all those guys that I've trained over the years and the other trainers have trained, where we've said to you, you know, you're going to have to sort of do this little workaround, that can go now. But the key is with this, guys, you have to call us to turn it on. It's a database setting that we do for you. Okay, so if you choose to upgrade to the new release that we're looking at today, then what you'll need to do is to tell the guys that you want to make use of the call out fee adjuster. It doesn't matter if you use pay bands or timesheets, it will still handle this for you. It doesn't matter how many engineers, from 1 to 50, whatever it might be. It will know, based on the call out fee against the site, that you guys want to drop the first hour, 90 minutes out of it. Okay? I hope that made sense to you, because that's quite a new sort of big important thing. If not, as we said, ask me at the chat at the end, and we'll go from there. Sorry, there is quite an important, a valid point here from Helen. She's asking if the call out fee adjuster, can this be different for each customer? At the moment, it's a setting to say, take out the first hour, take out the first 90 minutes and so on. So it's a system setting at the moment, Helen. It will be developed to be customer specific as well, but at the moment it's just a system thing. Okay, so you can still alter your call out fees, you can still alter obviously your hourly rates, but it's just one setting saying take that first 60 minutes off. Okay, just hope that explains that to you. Okay, so just moving on from that for a second, We're now going to look at buy logic. Now I'm not going to sit here and go through raising purchase orders, as probably bore you to death, but I am going to show you a few new things. If I go into my dummy job that I've got set up, first thing you'll notice, we have a supplier's invoices menu available now from within inside the job. So from within inside the job, not only can you see the supplier invoices, the supplier purchase orders, the subcontractor purchase orders, and now you can also see any supplier invoices that have been raised against this job. So you can see I prepared one earlier here, and this is my supplier's invoice that's come in, and you can actually see it all in one place now. So you haven't got to go looking into buy logic and go searching around. Everything is in that one little button for you. Okay, so hopefully you'll like that one. What we have added as well to the purchase order screen is you can now search when you create a new purchase order and you add a part, you can search that part screen by the part number, description and category. So if I go into one that I've got outstanding, you can see here I've got an outstanding purchase order. I'm going to add a new line, and you can see we've put a few new fields in here for you. So this is again a wildcard search filter. It will search any of these headers along here, and you've also got the category drop down inside there. But what we've also introduced into this screen is multiple select. So you can select a number of parts and add the 3 lines onto the purchase order at the same time. You don't have to go in now and click on add new order line, one of, add new order line, one of, and so on. You quite simply pick your 3 or 4 parts, and then if you want, you're quite within the use of the system to go into each line and change the quantity, change everything that you want to add. But at least it means you don't have to insert them separately each time. Okay, so buy logic has got a few new little things. But it's also got one major change, which again I'd like to take a little bit of time and explain to you. For you guys that use purchase orders, and for you guys that use and bring in supplier invoices into Joblogic, you're obviously well aware of the fact that you have to match and clear those invoices for them to then pass and link to your accounts package. So what we've done is a new change, a new feature with buy logic. And that is, it's easier to explain this by showing you. I raised a purchase order for these parts in my system, and then I put a supplier's invoice against it which didn't match. So it allowed me to create an adjustment as you normally expect. That adjustment's now been put onto my system, ready to pass over to my accounts package. But what it's done is it's also put me a purchase order adjustment inside the cost screen. So I can see the fact that this has actually cost me £60 less. £60 more than it should have. The beauty of this though, I can do whatever I want with it. So if I do get a supplier's invoice and you do have that relationship with your customer where you can tweak a few prices after it's all been delivered and so on, then at least you can edit this and make it a positive, rather than you guys losing out. So the crux of it is that the purchase orders that you match to invoice to supplier invoices now will pass any adjustment into the cost screen, so you can see it in the cost screen, and it's obviously relevant then to any reports that you pull out. Okay, so that's a few changes in buy logic, like so. What I want to show you now is for those guys that use plan logic and the PPM system, plan preventive maintenance. I'm just going to pick on my webinar site that I created for today and just show you something that's new. You guys who use plan logic will know that plan logic has a settings button down the right hand side where you can give it the job description text. So when you produce your 20 jobs for the month or whatever it might be, it's going to default with this text coming out. But what we've given you now is an additional area. When you're planning your PPM contract in Joblogic, what you can also do now, as well as putting the assets and the task type, if you just scroll this bar along here, you'll see we've given you a job description box. So in here you can type whatever you want, oops, excuse me, like so. So the job description box is in addition, guys, to the default setting. So if you didn't want the default setting to do anything, you would delete it all out and let this do everything. But if you leave the default setting in there, it's going to put this after that bit of text. So this gives you the ability to put, you know, unique notes for each particular visit. You might want to say something different on each particular visit. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense for you guys that use PlanLogic. Now, what we're doing this morning, guys, as you can imagine, there's quite a lot of you listening to me today, so I was prepping and practicing and making sure I don't fluff my lines. But what I did do is I came across something. If for those of you who've read the release guide, on page 9, there is a batch renewals thing that we've introduced. I actually came across something when I tested it this morning that I wasn't quite happy with, and I've reverted it back to our developers for them to look into. It was just the way it was producing a job after it had automatically been renewed. I didn't like the way it renewed the date structure, so I've asked them to interrogate it and look at it. So for now, that's going to be pulled from this release and it'll be in the next one. But what we have done is included the frequent billing batch renewal, which if you use both, you know they're sort of part of the same family. So inside your frequent billing now, for those people that use frequent billing, you can actually say, you know, show me everything that's due to be renewed in October, and it says you've got 16 contracts due for renewal, and you can batch the lot of them to renew at the same time without having to go through them one by one and renew each one separately. That's what was meant to be in plan as well, but as I said, I found something this morning that I wasn't too happy about, so I've just pulled that out of this release for now. Okay, I thought that was worth mentioning because obviously it states it in the release guide, which has gone out to you guys. What I want to finish off with for this webinar, and then we'll get to any questions people have, is I want to take a look at a new change inside WebLogic for you guys and the Joblogic users. So you guys know, well, if you don't know, I'm about to show you. When you've got your user account inside Joblogic, you have a WebLogic login system here. Now, for those of you who don't use this, this allows you to look at all your job information on any device, you know, a tablet, a mobile, a PC, anything with a web browser basically. So you could be sat on the beach in the Maldives and you could get your little tablet out and you could look at the dashboard and see how many jobs have been logged in the office and who's doing them and so on, if you really want to do that while you're in the Maldives. So with my account set up here, as you can probably guess, I have prepared one. Here's my WebLogic screen. Once you've set up your account for WebLogic, please ignore that URL at the top, guys. This is our internal testing environment. Once you've set up that account, you log into WebLogic. What you've got then is when you highlight a job, we've given you a new engineer section in the middle. Now what this is going to allow you to do as Joblogic users, this isn't going to allow your customers to do this, by the way. You, the Joblogic users, can choose your engineer, you can choose your time and date, and so on, and then you can allocate the engineer, which is great. I've allocated Paul to this job. But not only that, I can now deploy it to him. So I can actually, inside a web browser, I can sit there, plan it, give it to Paul, send it him, and off it goes. So that now will be arriving on my mobile. So the ability now for the Joblogic users is the fact that they can allocate and deploy from within inside WebLogic. And I've just got an email now to confirm that it's come through, so that was convenient. We've also introduced a tracking element to Joblogic Mobile. Now guys, this is GPS tracking, so this is your mobile device tracking. So the first thing here is probably that's burning into everyone's heads, can this be turned off? Of course it can. Engineers can turn the power off on their phone and the tracking will stop. Joblogic Mobile, when you log into it and you get us to enable tracking, we'll ask you if you want to allow Joblogic to track your location. They obviously must say yes to this, and it will only ask them once. Once they say that, you're then going to get, apologies, I've chose a WebLogic with a bad data set, as in I've got no engineers. You're then going to get the Google Maps plugin, and it's going to show you your engineers plotted, their journey plotted on the map. You can also get a historical plot of each engineer and a report from it. Okay, it's in its infancy, guys, so bear with us while we make this as powerful as Joblogic. It's a basic tracker. It shows you where they are, it shows you their journey and the job they're on the way to. Obviously we want to introduce far more intricate features and really sort of nice whistles and bells, if you like, to the tracking, but that again is available. But like the call out fee adjuster, you just need to give us a bell to turn this on for you. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up on a few little points at the end of that release document that I think is worth talking about. So in ServeLogic we've added the we've added site address line 1 to the job screen. So as you guys know, you can scroll along on here like so, and you'll see we've added site address line 1. So again, now not only have you got the site name, you've got the first line of the address, and some people expressed that would be quite useful for them, so we've dropped that in there for you like so. We've also got a new function of mobile read receipt. When the engineer gets the job, all you guys that use mobile know you have this blue circle here with a question mark inside it. Once the engineer clicks on that job, the circle with the question mark, the circle will turn from blue to red to show that he's ready. Okay. We've also just a couple of things I want to, as I said, flick through here. I'm going to move on to BuyLogic. With the delivery notes inside BuyLogic, these are now editable even after delivery has been completed. A few people have asked for that. Supplier invoices, we've now introduced a warning pop-up if you enter a supplier invoice number that's already been used. So if it's unique and it's been used by 2 different suppliers, we will warn you of the fact. It won't stop you if you carry on, but obviously it's just giving you a friendly warning. Inside PlanLogic, we've given you the ability to plan a contract for the same day each month. That's not the same date, so it's literally the first Wednesday of each month, go and clean the windows, or every Wednesday of every month, go and mow the lawns between these periods. So we've brought in the day scenario. We've also, with WebLogic, just nip back to that screen, we've improved the dashboard metrics. So for those people who use WebLogic, this will seem quite familiar. For those who don't, then obviously this looks quite new to you. The WebLogic metrics were decent anyway, but we've brought in some brand new ones, and we've also got engineer lead tables now, profitability, the most profitable engineers, the hours worked, and how many jobs they've completed. We've got in and out of target reports on the dashboard, your top 5 sites, 5 customers, the job types you're busiest with, and obviously the peaks and the troughs, if you like, in your calendar year. So the dashboard is, as you can imagine, it's quite nice for us trainers when we revisit old clients. We're seeing these up on big screens in their reception or in their offices, showing people metrics about the business. And don't forget, for you guys, and not for your clients, for you guys, you also have a quote dashboard. Now the quote dashboard is obviously, it's talking about finance, how many you've met, how many quotes have been logged, and so on, but this is obviously strictly internal. This isn't for you guys. With jobs inside WebLogic now, we've added a new filter of task types, so you can see I can search all my WebLogic jobs for any AC leaking, or whatever your trade is. You can also now, with jobs, drag and drop multiple attachments in one go. So you can drag and drop into this screen when I click on the button there, and you can get 6, 7, 10, 20 attachments and drag them into the job from here. No more single selecting as it used to be. Okay, other than that, guys, that's everything I needed to talk about this morning for this new release. Now, the way these releases work is, again, just before I talk about them, don't forget, if you do want to be upgraded and you want to make use of the call out fee adjuster, you want to make use of the WebLogic tracking to look at your engineers and so on, please mention it when you get upgraded. Okay, if you want to be upgraded onto the new system to make use of these new features, all you simply have to do is call our support team and they will book you in. Okay, it is pretty much on a first come first served basis unless there is a priority upgrade that's needed for a reason. So other than that, guys, all I'd like to do is thank you for your time, and if you have any questions for me now, please feel free to type away on the chat box, and let's get discussing them. You're welcome. Thanks a lot of thank yous coming through, but thank you very much indeed. No, the tracking at the moment doesn't track speed. It doesn't track speed at the moment. That is something we are obviously keen to bring in, but at the moment it doesn't track speed. The waiting time for the upgrade, I'm not copping out of the question. I don't actually know. Well, you're welcome, Alistair. Oh, Alistair's a new customer that's had no training yet. Good. Welcome, Alistair. glad you enjoyed it, and we look forward to training you. Yes, we have. Yeah, someone's asking about the diary. I've got the diary up. I know I didn't show you the diary, so there's nothing new in there. But technically, in this release, we've put a save layout feature on it. So I know it used to infuriate people when they got the diary looking exactly the way they wanted it. They'd log out, go home, and come back, and it reset itself. You've got a save preferences option now. So yeah, that's all been put in for you. All right then, guys. Yeah, someone just said they love me. You know, that's really, really lovely. But thank you very much. Hi, Steve. Can you use Apple products? Sorry, Steve, for what do you mean by Apple products? Do you mean Apple products as in obviously tablets and phones, but do you mean for WebLogic, or do you mean for Joblogic Mobile? But yeah, well, the answer is yes to both. The app is out on the iOS store, and obviously the app is out on Android, and you can use WebLogic on any device with a browser. So hopefully that covered it for you, Steve. We've got a question: if you raise a call by an asset, where does it pull the initial letter from? E.g., if you raise a call from an AC unit asset, how did it put an A from? Okay, Jamie. Basically, when you log a call, let me just minimize this. Just answer Jamie's question quickly. When you log a call by the asset, what's driven for, as in what letter it gives it, Jamie, is the job type you choose. So my job as it stands there, all I've done is chosen my AC unit, or whatever it might be, my Dakin cassette unit. The only thing that's going to drive this letter that you're talking about is the S for service and maintenance, the I for installation, C for call out, and S for stock sales. So it's the job type. Okay, it's the job type that's going to govern it. There's Lucy. There is no cost to upgrade. No, it's part of your support subscription. So if you would like to upgrade, obviously, guys, then get on the phone this morning. We've got 2 more sessions of these tomorrow. So I would say yes, get on the phone now and get upgraded. Steve is asking about reports. Sorry, Steve, can you be a little bit more detailed? I'm not quite sure whether you mean the mobile still, or whether you're referring, is there any new reports in Joblogic? I don't quite... Oh, sorry. Okay, Steve. Yeah, Steve's asking if any new reports have been added to Joblogic. We've added a load of new views inside our CSV export facility. We haven't added any reports in WebLogic because we're slowly going to be moving away from it, over the coming sort of 12 months or so. We're finding the CSV exports obviously are a lot more powerful. People can can really interrogate them, and we can set them up with some nice little tricks inside them now to preempt things or imply things. So if there's something you're after in particular, Steve, give our tech guys a ring, or your account manager, and let's see what we can do for you. But there are an absolute load inside here now. That it's just getting bigger and bigger all the time. Someone's asking, when is the next release? I actually don't know. I know this release is official, and obviously you can request it, and we are now starting to work on 7.24, which will obviously become an internal release, which the trainers and the support team will then break, send it back to the developers, and they'll release 7.25 and so on. So just follow us on social media, guys. A lot of things get put up on there. And obviously we'll keep emailing people when there's new releases and inviting you to these things. Okay, any more questions, guys, or you're all happy? Please don't be offended if I cut anyone off if they're typing slowly, but thank you for your time. Thank you for joining this today. Anything after this that pops into your head, just email the training team and we'll happily help you. You're all very welcome. A lot of thank yous coming through, so yeah, brilliant. Okay. Thanks a lot then, guys. I'm going to leave you now to get on with your days, and as I said, anything else, give us a bell. Bye guys, thanks a lot, bye bye.